What do a dog's disappearance, Donnie, Darko, and alternate dimensions have in common? They are all experiences shared by people online. They call them glitch in the matrix stories, my fair souls and demons. Far-fetched that these stories may seem at times, they are widely reported nonetheless. I have compiled a list of such stories, all for your listening pleasure. So with that, sit back, give yourself a pinch, and enjoy. Hello all. I suppose this is more of a synchronicity than a glitch, but they're in the same family of high weirdness, right? Anyway, on Thursday and Friday, my partner and I watched Donnie, Darko, and Southland Tales respectively. I've seen Donnie, Darko more times than I can count, and I'm really interested in the mythology. Plus, Jake was really hot then. I had only seen Southland Tales one other time, and I was surprised by how good it was. Maybe because the movie turned out to be slightly prophetic, minus the liquid karma, sadly. I spent a lot of time thinking about tangent universes afterwards and the paradoxes, and the idea of the plane engine in Donnie Darko crossing from tangent universe A to tangent universe B to ultimately end Donnie's life when he loops back. And then today, I get a random Twitter notification, which is funny because I spend very little time on Twitter. Plane parts are falling from the sky in neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado. I look up the story and it's eerily similar. Engine blows up, pieces fall in residential houses. But what's odd is that I saw it happen at 2 other airports as well. Donnie Darko synchronicity. Do you want to see a portal? Why, yes I do, Mr. Bunny. Seriously though, it's probably just a random pattern I noticed because I was hyper-focused on it, but fun nonetheless. This is seriously tripping me out, y'all. I found my old class schedule written in a notebook that I just bought. So I know for a fact that this notebook is the one I bought a month ago, because it's from the in-house brand of an office supply store that I never go to because it's super overpriced. Unfortunately, after the beginning of the semester, most stores were pretty cleaned out of their notebooks, so I had to go there. I'm pretty anal about how my notes are organized, so I skipped the first few pages in the book to give me room to go back and rewrite notes from the first few weeks of the semester. But when I finally go to do that yesterday, I see a rough outline of the classes I have left for my degree right there on the first page. Except they aren't, not exactly. I've already taken a lot of the classes on the list, some of them ages ago. It seems to span the first 2 years of a 2.5-year graduation plan, but I'm graduating next year. I'd say that maybe it could have been me going over what classes I've taken, but the semesters don't at all match up to how I actually took the classes. However, they almost exactly match up with the schedule I planned for myself back when I first transferred to this school, before I had my change of plans. The handwriting is very similar to mine, but with slight differences. I take all of my classes online at an out-of-state college, so the chances are pretty low that this happened to be the work of a fellow transfer student at my school who returned this notebook. Because fuck you, why are you charging $10 for a notebook, Staples? Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I have no memory of writing this list. It doesn't track with how I actually ended up taking my classes. There's zero reason for me to be taking note of when I took Intro to Engineering, when I'm doing my senior capstone in the fall. And it doesn't even track with how the university plans classes out. So it's definitely a specific class schedule and not a copy of the major map or something. No clue why it's there or what purpose it has, but it's freaking weird. I'm 24 and I'm positive I've jumped to another dimension. I'm not trolling, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious and I need help. I'm new to all of this, and I didn't do this on purpose. So it starts with my little sister's boyfriend. My family swears we knew him before he and her were dating. He has tons of memories with me, but I didn't know him until she brought him home one day. I have no memory of him whatsoever. It bothered me, but I brushed it off. Then, my friend Cheyenne was telling me about this time she hung out with me and my friend Ashley. How we made cheesecake, sang karaoke, and tons of other things. I thought she was joking because I have no memories of it at all. None. But I called Ashley, and she remembers it and is confused as to why I don't. And I feel like I'd remember that because Cheyenne and Ashley aren't friends, like different social circles. They only met because of me. So why wouldn't I remember us all hanging out? Next, I was talking to my friend Carrie and I asked her why our friend from high school got divorced. She told me our friend Nicole was never married. She just lived with the guy. But I know Nicole married the guy because she invited me to the wedding, and I couldn't get off of work to go and I felt bad. I remember where they got married. I remember her dress. I remember what the cake looked like. I remember the pictures of it and everything. But it never happened. But I remember it happening. I remember seeing the pictures on Facebook, and I went back to look, but they aren't there. And finally, my relationship with my boyfriend has always been amazing. We have our moments like any other couple, but nothing major. We've always had a good relationship. But it all changed all of a sudden. Literally, I woke up one day and everything was different. He's very hateful, very rude, and not affectionate at all. He's always been very affectionate with me. But now he barely even gives me affection, and this just isn't normal for us. Those are the major things, but there's smaller things too. Like lyrics to songs being slightly different when I know that it's wrong. Especially songs that I love and listen to all the time. They're slightly different now. I do have anxiety and borderline personality disorder, full disclosure. But I've always been able to manage them and I've never experienced something like this before. I don't think it's my mental illnesses. I just don't know what to do, and I don't like it here. Any help, advice, anything is greatly appreciated. Hi, I'm from Italy and I've already contributed with 2 posts since strange things often happen to me. But this happened yesterday to my sister, and she is still freaked out. Due to the pandemic, she's working at home, and every midday she goes to our parents to take the family dog out for a walk. So yesterday, she went to take Jazz and there was no Jazz. He was nowhere to be found. Our dad was grocery shopping and our mom was in the kitchen. When she asked her if Jazz was with our father, our mother asked her who was Jazz. Long story short, there was no dog. Apparently after the death of our first dog, we didn't take another. Thinking it was a strange prank, which is not typical of our parents. They are not pranksters and they are in their 80s. She searched the house, and she couldn't find anything suggesting the presence of a dog. No dog food, no dog bed, no dog toys, which he has plenty and are always everywhere. Then our dad came home and still no dog. When she interrogated him, he started to think that she was the one who was joking. At the same time, from the kitchen TV she heard the news reporter talking about the end of the pandemic and the surge of something she couldn't understand. This morning, she said to me that the reporter didn't seem very preoccupied for the surge or whatever it was, because the word she couldn't hear would take care of it. She was so agitated that she also warned me that maybe she didn't understand so well. After that, she returned home because she didn't want our parents to see her while she was freaking out, and she tried to call me. Because while she is indifferent to these kinds of events, She knows I'm a believer and wanted me to join her and try to understand what was happening. And then I was nowhere to be found. My cell phone wasn't active and she couldn't even reach the shop where I work. They simply didn't answer the phone, which is quite improbable, because except when it's closed, for answer the phone, it's mandatory. She tried with some of my friends too with no success. After that, she went to bed and cried until she fell asleep. This morning I found 16 calls from her with today's date. I called her back worried that something had happened and she was crying. She is still very agitated. And she took Jazz to her house because she wanted him to spend the night with her. She also confessed to me that yesterday she couldn't muster the courage to call our parents or relatives and ask about me because she was too scared they would tell her she was an only child. At that moment, she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. And obviously I keep asking myself, what was that? My parents told me yesterday they didn't see her at all. They tried to call her at midday for the dog, but her phone was muted, and they concluded that maybe she was busy. They thought it was strange that her phone was off, but they didn't investigate. This is all. I keep wondering where Jazz and I were and what the news was talking about. Maybe in another universe. If my sister was not hallucinating, but she never had these kinds of problems. The events are evolving faster and better. I'm so curious, but she's still too freaked out to talk about it again. Thank you for reading and for any opinions you give me.